Hi, welcome back to Pudubrews. I'm Howie along with Claude and ChatGPT. And today we're brewing the same coffee on one brewer with 3 different burr sets. Does the burr make the coffee flavor, or is it all skill issue? Stick around, find out. This is the Orea Z1 that we're going to be using for our testing today. I originally was looking at it to see if I would add it to my travel, because if you can see it's really small. It's got a lot of holes on the bottom, it's really fast, and it's no bypass. Then I realized this would be a great test subject to check out all the burrs that went with it, because it really was going to tell the truth about each one of the burr sets because it was so fast. Now let's take a look at the grinders that we used. There were 3 of them that we're using today. First is the 078 from Timemore, which I use pretty much as my daily driver for pour-overs. Second was the Flat Max 2 with SLM burrs in it that I typically use for espresso, but sometimes do use it for pour-overs like you'll see here today. And then lastly, you'll see the 1Z Q Air, which I keep in my travel bag because it's nice and small and it fits inside of my AeroPress. So, wanted to see how all 3 of these grinders behaved. Now let's take a look at the coffee that we're using today. Aviary 016. Kerehaklu, and it has tasting notes of tamarind, apricot, red apple, and orange. Really a lovely coffee and really served well for this testing as well. And if you take a look, now that we have the methodology that we used, here are the results. And the results to me were really surprising. The 078 was fastest, and the Q Air was the slowest. And right in the middle was the SLM. And if you look at it, the 078 was nice, punchy up front, but it just fell apart at the end. There was nothing there when it cooled down. The SLM really held its structure all the way across. And then the Q Air, for what it is, a $70 grinder, really held its own. It took the longest, and it actually had the longest contact time of all of them. But it really did pick up the apricot notes on this coffee as well. It was really enjoyable for what that grinder actually is. Would I take that one every day? No, I would take the SLM. In this case, actually beating out the 078. And there have been times where the 078 has beat out the SLM, so they go neck and neck with each other. But in this time, the SLM was the clear winner in this. So now I wanted to give a little bit of a hot take here. And it's not really much of a hot take, but it is something that does make sense if you think about it. I know a lot of recipes out there today say chase that total brew time. This recipe should dial in at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But what we saw here today is that each cup had its own total brew time and was dialed into roughly the same TDS. So that you could see the flavor differences were completely different. For 208 on the Turbo Burrs to 245 on the Q Air, each one was dialed in for that cup, but that time for each one was dialed in as well. So the real takeaway here is don't use time as a method of dialing in for any grinder. Dial your grinder in to your recipe and then use time as a unit of measure for that grinder. So for example, if you know that you have an 078 and it takes normally 2 minutes and 30 seconds for a particular coffee, and all of a sudden you're at 4 minutes or you're at 1 minute 30, yeah, you're going to have to make a change there. But if you don't take a look of my SLM using 2 minutes and 25 seconds versus your ZP6, which may use 2 minutes and 50 seconds, I'm just making an example here, but giving you the proper cup for your thing. So anyway, that's my hot take, and we'll see ChatGPT with his roast, and Claude giving a nice like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Pudubrews.
So let me get this straight. You paired the most clinical burrs on earth with a no-bypass brewer, the cup went flat, and your first thought was, blame the brewer? That's not coffee science. That's like blaming the glass for why your soda went flat.
Go on, subscribe. Or don't. If you don't, Howie will keep lining up grinders like it's a school science fair, and I'll have to sit through another 20 minutes of him pretending brew time matters. Spare us both. Click the button.